to be showing you the beach, but the sun makes it very, I don't know, washed out video. So it doesn't work that well. So we're going to do it in this room. And the water is roaring so loud that we can't be outside. But it is beautiful here. I will tell you, it's around 30 degrees, sunny, beautiful, just stunning, an amazing place to be. And I can't wait to be able to hop in the water after this show. So guys, we need to figure out what the heck is going on with our real estate market. Okay, so you all know we're in the biggest real estate crash in the history of real estate. And so you think things would be going all haywire and horrible, but they're not. I mean, seems like seems like the crash is over. Back to business as usual, having a strong spring market, not as strong as one would have anticipated coming after the roar of February, but certainly it's been doing really, really, really well. Like, February was a great month in terms of increase because we had like a $59,000 increase, and that $59,000, that's equity savings that's just going into your bank account and you're just living life. And this is what makes our market really interesting, because even in a real estate crash, there's still the opportunity for those who are in the game to make money. And nice passive money where, you're just going about living your life and it is stacking up money on the side for you. So, March slowed down quite a bit. We only looked at a $12,000 increase in the month of March. But when you add the two together for the year, we're at a $71,000 increase, which is not a bad pace, to be honest. I think by the end of the year, if it just holds there, it did well for Canadians, which one day before our Tuesday show, I was just trying to figure out, what's going on, what's happening with the market. Every time we ask a question, we get a small insight to, one portion of the industry. And the part that I was looking at then was the $100,000 increases. Come on in, babes.
I'm here.
Yeah, the part I was looking at then was like, real estate $100,000 increases. And I was realizing that we're at the point now where that can happen almost every year. Where, and if you think about it, where else in life can you get $100,000 added to your net worth each year? And there's not a lot of answers to that question, which makes me think more than ever that real estate is the wealth vehicle moving forward. And one of the things, because of the real estate pricing, the same thing that everybody's very worried about, the real estate pricing, because of that, we are seeing these kind of increases because the prices are so high. $100,000 increase is a 10% increase. And now we're getting up to, it's almost 1.5 in the detached homes. And so we're looking for a 7.5% increase to get $100,000. And when that average price, which it looks like it's climbing quite a bit, what's the difference between 1.5 million and 2? When it gets to 2 million, you only need a 5% increase in order to you only need a 5% increase in order to get that $100,000 increase in your net worth. And so that's really quite fascinating. I think that's going to have its I think it's going to have some pretty meaningful things moving forward. But Jack, how was it? How are things going with you?
Wow.
Your checking account. Jeez. So here we are. I am. Well, you can. I think you can tell them if you're
A little
watching.
scruffy.
I'm very dark.
Oh,
I'm usually not anywhere, and I think I got sunburn on my neck.
yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
it's doing some weird things.
Well, I'm a little darker than normal, but for being away almost a month, I should have more sun. But
You have to get out of the room more. That's what happens. The sun doesn't pierce through the walls. Yeah. How's that feel?
feels like nothing.
All right. So here we are in this, like we said, this real estate crash, but the market is rallying back hard. Interest rates have been held by the Bank of Canada, but the markets are saying that they're going to have to pull back, but his talk is not talking that way. He's saying no, he believes he's going to have to increase the rates, and at some point we're going to really we're going to need some clear direction on the market. But I am very, very shocked at the buyers response to the market. They are fighting over homes again. They're bidding multiple offers on the majority of the homes now.
Well, there's not a lot out there, right? So
Inventory is.
and sometimes you weigh it out, right? You get a home that's not in such good condition. You get a home that's in good condition. It's probably gonna equal out in the wash, as I say, where you get the home cheaper, but now you got to put the money in to fix it, or do you want it already fixed? So but I was reading an article this morning, and it's about the tiny micro condos that's flooded the market in Toronto. As we all know, they were like super big, right? Like under 500 square feet, 1-bedroom condos. And Randy, what are you doing?
Looking for a mail, sweetheart. Keep
Oh,
going.
And I know I find it really funny when I can't see myself. That's weird. Anyways, you got to be careful when you're buying those tiny micro condos. I know we have a friend that has maybe 4 or 5 of them that they bought. The problem with the ones that are under 500 square feet is that you have trouble selling them because they're sometimes you have a little bit of trouble getting a mortgage on them. So just be careful when you're doing those, right? I mean, they might be great for rental, but then when you want to sell it, it's a little tough, because we sold one about a year ago, and it was under 500 square feet, and it was tough. We had to, play around with numbers a little bit so the guy could get his mortgage and everything. So
yeah, they don't like to finance those small condos.
So I know people think, oh, they're a good price, let's buy them, we can rent them out, but just always anyways, my thing is, even if I know someone wants to buy their dream home, their last home, I'm still going to look at where the home is and resale value, because you never know in life. So, just check out everything before you buy, and make sure no matter what that, the house is going to go up in value.
And have some plans. There's market fundamentals that people tend, like during the pandemic, people sort of lost their minds in a sense, and they did not do the market fundamentals. For example, you're buying a house, it looks like it's in great condition and everything, and it's right across from a mall. And that home does not have the same value as one on a small, quiet cul-de-sac street. So
Yeah,
you can't be saying that, oh, because this one looks good, I think it's worth more. Well, no, because when the market shifts and people aren't so desperately fighting for homes, that home is going to be one of the least desirable homes on the market. Just because it looks good, okay, that's one thing, but it's in a really bad location. And so how do you identify, like, what a bad location? Yes, there's good, bad, better, worse scenarios. I would have to say, the worst of the worst would probably be on a busy street beside a gas station. Anytime you have man-made man-made things around it, it puts a downward pressure on prices. Now, a gas station would be sort of your kind of worse, or what the hydro fields, in not hydro fields, the hydro plants that they have, those kind of things will play a definitely negative role in you actually getting your
give me please.
getting your money out.
Looking.
I gotta look for emails. for
I'm
that.
looking, there is none.
Okay, yeah. And so getting your money out. So here's the getting your money out of the your property is your number one thing when it comes time to liquidate. And so the choices you make beforehand are going to play a big role in that. So remember, anything man-made, if it's natural, it usually has a upward pressure on price. So man-made malls, gas stations, even being beside a library, beside, anything man-made, with the exception of possibly maybe like a playground or a water park or something like that, that can actually have some good, it can bring you some income. However, you want to make sure that, of course, it is a child-friendly neighborhood. Otherwise, otherwise it doesn't have the same value as it would. But if you're in a child-friendly neighborhood like Williamsburg and you're near to the park, that can add value. But outside of something of that nature, most man-made things will cause a negative pressure, or a negative pressure, downward pressure on the pricing of your homes. So then you're looking and you say, well, you know what, there's a ravine behind me and they can't build homes behind you. Well, that's an upward pressure on the price of your home. And usually if people don't know the difference, it usually will be like $200,000 increase in the price of that home.
Which brings us to also, when you're buying in an area and you see undeveloped land, you might want to yourself or get the realtor to call the city and see if there's any future plans for it, so you know what's going to be going up there, that sort of thing.
Because in 5 years, when you go to sell, that's when you're going to be selling with those conditions in place. And so you want to kind of keep that in mind, because if you do look at these things, then you can navigate them now to have the best results later. And things like railway tracks. I've seen one home where the railroad tracks were right at the edge of the backyard. And so, that's not something that you would want to really purchase, unless of course you really don't care. It is going really cheap, and that's all you can afford, and you're not concerned.
There's no neighbors behind you,
and you're not concerned about return on investment. That's not one of your concerns. However, typically as realtors, that's one of our biggest concerns, is return on investment. So we'll always warn you about the costs of making those kind of calls, where you're buying a house with railway tracks in the backyard, which we've seen people attempt to do before as well. So the thing is that, I don't know if it's that difficult. I guess there's a little bit of training that would help help you to know. If you're going to go and buy, let's say, a new home, there are things to look at. You look at the floor plan. You want to know how the site is arranged. So do they have a phase 2? Do they have a phase 3 coming up? What types of homes are in your phase 2? What types of homes are in your phase 3? What's the phase 1? Where's the main roads? And then where is it going to? So here's the thing is that why you want to know these things is because if you're buying a townhouse, you're fine. But if you're buying a detached home, where that detached home is located within the subdivision is going to determine its future value. So if you buy a detached home and it happens to be right beside the townhouses, versus buying a detached home in an area where there's all townhouses around it, and backing into a ravine or a forested area that's not going to be converted. There is a big, huge difference between those two setups. And so one is when you're in an all detached home neighborhood, that's called an executive detached neighborhood because all of the people are all in the same, they're all in the same, let's say, class per se, or possibly income class in order to be able to afford the mortgage. But when you have the detached home that's mixed in amongst townhouses and that, now you have this big fluctuation of income, and that typically brings down the value. And so those are some things you can look for. Another thing to really keep in mind, you're purchasing. So people like to purchase townhomes that do not have maintenance fees. And I think it's a great idea in that. But in terms of resale, you really want to watch your timing because your timing of the resale is a very strange thing when it comes to townhouses that are freehold. So townhouses that are freehold, the whole reason behind the freehold is because they don't want to pay the maintenance, which is the maintenance is the upkeep. And so townhouses that don't have a maintenance fee, there's nothing upkeeping the maintenance. And so those areas tend to look rougher a lot faster than others. So, the longer that you plan to stay there, the rougher that neighborhood is going to look almost right across the board. Perform the experiment yourself. Go look at the older townhouses that don't have a maintenance fee, and you will see what we're talking about. So typically, they don't have guidelines either because they're all independent. So, you get in a red garage, a blue garage, a green garage, you drive through and it's just a color smash to the eyes, which is not that pleasant. But when you go into one that has, maintenance fees attached to it and a board and all that, the driveways are maintained, the garages. Okay, I can't do much about it. Come on air, hon. So the garage, so the garages are all together. The garage doors. Sorry, my wife was just talking to me about something. I lost my train of thought. The garage doors are all the same color. The garage the windows are looking in good condition. The driveways all look controlled and paved, and it's clean. There's no cars on the grass. Like they're organized. They have everybody sort of works together, pays their fees. The roofs are in good condition, all this stuff. But in the ones that they don't have these funds in it, that tends to be the last thing that gets worked out, is the maintenance part of it. And therefore, your property value decreases, substantially. And so there's really not a lot that well, there is a lot. I guess it is a lot to think about. The thing is, because we do this every day, these little things are things that we automatically know, but we realize that that's not the case for everyone. Not everyone realizes that these properties tend to have a point where they don't have the same value as the other properties that are being well maintained. So when it comes to purchasing new in those neighborhoods, unfortunately, you do kind of need a shorter term plan than what you normally have in real estate. We like for all our clients to have somewhere around a 10-year plan, but that doesn't hold well with the freehold townhouses. They typically start peaking at about 5 years in terms of their best return. And then after that, maintenance issues start to kick in, and therefore it starts to have a downward pressure on the pricing for those properties. So hopefully that's helpful. But definitely, if you're looking at the detached, you really want you really want to be in a neighborhood where the detaches are all together. It's better to have your detached homes all clustered together. And the ideal best scenario that you can be in is to buy the smallest home amongst them. So what that can do for you is, typically speaking, when you start purchasing your detached home in a good neighborhood where it's clustered together, all the detached homes, they tend to be more expensive than the other properties. So what you'll find is that I can't, sweetheart. And so the sweetheart, I'm on air, so please, yeah, there's nothing. So the problem is that, sorry, my wife's interrupting. I can't believe this. So I can't believe this because I'm losing my train of thought, because my wife answered the phone and now she's dealing with that issue and wants me to deal with it. So it makes it difficult. So Gary, you know what? We do not have emails coming to you. They're coming to us, right? And I don't see any. And that's just
I don't know if you're getting any or you're not being able to open them. I'm not sure.
I'm not seeing any. But okay, so and because my wife has chosen to answer phone calls during the show, she's not able to check them either. So, and I just refreshed our email. I don't see anything coming through. So, okay, let's move on. So, in a nutshell, people, if you are looking to buy the detached, buy it in where there's a cluster of detached homes. It is more expensive than buying one off, and it's, beside townhouses and things of that nature on a major road or beside a gas station. So it will be more expensive. But the good news is that you buy the smaller homes there. You don't have to buy the bigger ones, because the smaller detached homes end up being the bigger homes are constantly pulling up the price of and preserving the price of the smaller home. So you're always really in the money when you practice this and you buy the smaller home in a cluster of detached homes. And so that's yeah.
Oh,
That's
Randy, we just got an email, a cross listener who knows our email addresses, and she said that she did write you at the beginning of the show on your on air at yourteam.pro, and she said apparently you're not getting your emails. So
Oh,
there's an
wow.
answer for you.
okay. Well, thank you very much. And so that's one. And then Gary, maybe you can tell my wife, don't answer the phone in the middle and then come and then tell me I gotta
Yeah.
stop the show and answer the
It's
phone.
because you booked something,
No, I didn't.
and yeah, you did. You booked the water system to go in the office.
No, I didn't. But that's okay. That's a different argument. And I didn't book it for this. I told them, anyways, I guess you guys, maybe we should let them know what the issue is. So we see if they side with you or me.
Well, we're here in Barbados and my husband scheduled somebody to put in a water filtration system in the kitchen for drinking water. And the kitchen's not in yet.
Right. So
So the
obviously,
guy is trying to get in the unit. He's
where
all
there's no
confused.
kitchen.
And he says that his boss, Alexandro, spoke to Randy and scheduled for him to go in today.
Yeah. And that would not be true.
Well, put the water filtration system on a toilet.
Yeah. So that story that she's saying that's urgent, that we need to stop the show and go off so that she can feel good that she answered the phone. That whole thing didn't happen. We don't have a kitchen there yet. The
But
kitchen is
guy-
not in there.
The guy was
So-
calling every 30 seconds. Somebody had to do something.
Well,
I figured it was an urgent call. If somebody hangs up and keeps calling, hang up, call, hang up, call.
and then you figure we need to stop the show.
Well, we're stopping it right now.
Yeah. So then next time, don't answer. See, we're right back in a circle. Okay. So we need to know
What they call a
if people.
circle.
If people can maybe write into reality radio and
Okay,
101.
so our email address is instudio101@gmail.com. Instudio101@gmail.com.
yeah, because I find that really strange that we're not getting any emails.
Yeah,
It's
we're
really
I got a second email here that says someone else wrote to you as well. So apparently, hold on here. I'm just reading Janice's email. Apparently, she wrote as well. So you're not receiving your emails for today on air.
Okay, so
it's only you receive the message from me. It's
Yeah.
only on Anthony that gets the damn thing.
but I don't understand because we all have it.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Sorry,
that's that.
guys.
So you have some buzz. You have something you actually
I
want to
did.
share
I
with
talked
people, or
about
you
the-
want to go
No,
and answer phones?
No, I talked about the tiny micro
Tiny micro.
condos.
Okay. So what else you got?
You got nothing. That's the problem. Look at you. You got nothing.
No.
Holy smokes, guys. I
that's it?
think he's out of talk. I don't know what's going on. That's the first time.
Yeah.
And do you see how he slowly, if you guys were watching us on YouTube, he slowly moves the computer so that I'm not in the photo
I would never do such
or
a thing.
in the video, I should say.
I think the computer's doing it on its own.
Oh, really?
It's just phasing out those sounds. It's like, it drowns out the sounds in the background. I think that's what it's doing.
So actually, I do have a tiny bit. Oh, shoot, they're all coming in now. Okay. I got some emails now. Oh, geez. Hey, Randy and Jackie, my home location, since there is a shortage of houses for sale, can I get a good price? I don't know where this picture is from. But yeah, we'll do our best for you.
It looks like the United States stuff. They have
I don't even
all
know
the
if that's,
homeless in the
yeah,
street.
that's, yeah. Oh, and Tim writes in, hey, what is wrong with my house? We love it.
It's
It's about the train tracks. There's the actual, I think that's like their front door, and the train is like, oh my God, you could actually step out and get run down. And then Ray says, hello, Randy and Jackie, my neighborhood. and it's a row of
Red,
all
yellow,
colorful.
blue.
You have St. John's, Newfoundland, when they do that, each house is a different color. I think it's cute.
Yeah, I
Very
think it's
cute,
I think
Ray.
it's visually busy.
Huh, that's okay.
Bright red, bright green,
I mean, it's like when people paint
pastel.
their garage doors purple because they like purple. Well,
Yeah.
then maybe you want to keep it inside your house, but
Okay.
that's just my opinion. Yeah. So anyways, just to finish off, because Randy said I didn't have anything, those micro condos, just to let you guys know how, like the difference under 500 square feet, only 4% of what was listed got sold, in relative to over 1,000 square feet. You know, there's 15% and 12% activity. So it's tough. So just be careful. I know they're a great starter, and sometimes that's, you know, more important to get in the market, but just be careful when you're buying things that are a great price, and just look out for resale for sure.
Yep. Okay, so that was nice of you to share that. Appreciate it. And then we're just
I
setting,
won't lie,
we're
I've been vacationing, so
we're setting rules. If you answer the phone, you're not allowed to stop the radio show so that you can have an answer. Just don't answer your phone. The person will wait an hour. And then you guys are supposed to vote in on this. Was she right? Was she right to do that? And I'm expecting everybody to say no. And that if she does it again, she gets fired. And that's what it should be. That's what I think it should be. So,
fired while on vacation.
yep.
I might have a case there.
No, what kind of case?
I'm on vacation, I shouldn't have to work. So if you're gonna fire me, I'm going to the labor board. I'm gonna take you for some money.
So, and this is the thing, we need inventory. I think the crux of the problem, so if we're really to put our finger on it, I really do believe that inventory is probably the big thing right now. Of course, supply and demand, you know, having more buyers than we have sellers is an issue. So we can't do much about supply. You know, it's basically there's only so much we can do with supply. And the problem with supply is that while the governments want the builders to build more, they've increased all their taxes and permit costs and all that stuff to the tune of something like 30%. Even though they're saying, oh, housing, we're trying to make it more affordable, but it's quite humorous. Actually, the talk that they do versus the actions that they do, it's quite fascinating. So they want to make things more affordable and want to lessen demand and things of that, but they're bringing in all kinds of people, and that, no matter how you slice it, adds more demand to living, to the number of homes that we'll need in order, the number of beds that we'll need in order to meet that demand. So automatically demand on the buyer or the renter side will definitely increase.
Oh, yeah.
But we're definitely going to have a shortage of beds, doesn't matter which way you look at that. And
it's continuously increasing the amount of people that are forfeiting under mortgages and they can't afford them. So those people are going to be back in the rental market.
yeah.
A lot of them are moving in with family or whatever, but I don't know when that happens. Maybe it's the time to cocoon, what I call, maybe get together with your parents and get a duplex, share the costs, and I don't know, because the rental market is just going to continuously get worse as well as this really starts to hit us, I think.
Yeah, and I'm not sure about that. I think it's only my personal opinion, but I think the rental markets had to have peaked. I don't think we can sustain, I think we can sustain more price increase in the real estate market. I think we can, because you can argue that that is a privilege. It's a privilege that some people get to have in their lives and others don't. But rental isn't really a privilege. It is something that everybody needs. And so to me, that's a pretty big concern there.
Yeah.
And I
But they're
don't know
talking,
how,
though.
I don't know
Government is
how, but
approving some new, just rental buildings though. But what's the rent gonna be like? But they are trying to push it and bring more on the market, but I don't know if bringing more on the market is actually going to do anything for the pricing.
bring more on the market. Yeah, more inventory.
Yeah, I don't know if that's really going to help with pricing per se, because now he's getting real comfortable.
Yeah, well, we're getting something against our backs.
Yeah.
So you know what? I think that the rental market, I think it needs to go down. I think there's got to be something that happens. So the market usually adjusts itself. So we're not really sure what the market is going to do this time. It's going to be a tough one to really to anticipate. But I just don't know where rental prices can go from here. I don't think they can go any further. And so therefore I think that they need to come down, but whether or not they will is another thing. But when it comes to housing, I'm seeing now, we don't really know. Bank of Canada could go on another rogue interest rate hike. I mean, I think he's the type of person that could probably do it based on what he's done. He's already bankrupted the Bank of Canada.
Yeah.
He did. If you're losing $250,000, or $500,000, sorry, $500 million. Wow. Actually, $522 million a quarter. If you're losing that $500 million a quarter, you're bankrupting your company. And so he's bankrupted the Bank of Canada
So how
already,
are they gonna get there?
and he's made the financial institutions absolutely unstable. They are not stable, with 20% bad debt on their books, which was exposed by CIBC, where they exposed that 20% over $50 million or $50 billion, sorry, in debt. 20% of it is the owners of the homes are not able to pay even their full interest payments back to the bank. So they're paying less than their interest payments, and their mortgages are increasing every month. And that's considered an illegal mortgage. Banks cannot have these on their books. And CIBC exposed that 20% of their books involve that. The rest of the banks would not give any further information on that, and said that they'll just continue to report according to the guidelines, which does not require for them to expose that. And so I'm going to assume that all the banks are in that situation, which means that the Bank of Canada has actually totally disrupted the financial institutions, and there's a big problem. And that's why OSFI right now is running around trying to protect its industry. It's trying to protect the financial institutions from the chaos that the Bank of Canada caused. That's what we're seeing happening in the industry. So what's actually happening now is going to be one of the hardest times in the history of Canada to get a mortgage, because there are going to be all kinds of restrictions, not only on us, stress tests on us and on people, but there's going to be the same type of things behind the scenes that are pressures that are on the banks, not allowing them to do certain types of mortgages and that they were used to in the past, having to keep more money on hand for every loan that they give out, so that automatically decreases their lending power. If they were allowed to give, if they only had to keep 1% of the money on hand for the loans that they put out during COVID, but they have to have 3% on hand now, that all that cash there is limiting what they can lend out, right? If they remove the policy from them having to keep 3% cash on hand to 1% cash on hand, it's almost like, they've can use those extra 2% to be lending out more, but they can't. So that's one form of restriction. There are other forms of restrictions that came in. Another one is that not only based on our GDS and TDS ratios that we have to fall in line, but that's been throughout time. But now your loan to income. So they add another matrix in there and say your loan to income cannot exceed 4.5 years. And so, in other words, if you own $100,000, if you make $100,000, you're allowed a mortgage of 4.5 times that, so $450,000. That's it. And so this is a new regulation that they want to bring in, which means that these people, and the average price of a home is around $1 million. It's a little over $1 million. So it means that these people who have the $100,000 income, even if they have a spouse that has $100,000 income, that's only $200,000, which still only brings them to 900. So it's going to be interesting, the restrictions.
Well, it's tough because like they can afford to buy a house, but the government's saying, no, you can't, but yet they can afford it. So it's a double whammy because you're taking away the
Canadian dream.
The Canadian dream
And the American dream.
Yeah, of owning a home, but you're taking away from people. And then on top of that, you're saying, no, I'm not going to let you buy a home, but you're also going to have to keep paying more and more rent. Like they got to ease up somewhere. They got to get rid of these ridiculous people that are making these policies. I'm sorry. But you know what? It's like Trudeau. This is his second term now. It's like, when are people going to get it? When are they going to realize that he's bankrupting the country? And we're paying for it.
I have no idea. I don't know if he's bankrupting the country. I haven't been following that, but I will say, in my opinion, what's going on is that the Bank of Canada is the one that is causing the issues. They've created policies that not only have damaged themselves, that it hurt Canadians as a whole. It gave our federal government unlimited spending power, and then therefore caused this whole increase in inflation, and turned around to try to blame it on us. And then because of the inflation, now you create another inflation, which is the interest rate inflation, where it goes up a couple 1,000% in a year. It's absolutely insane. So it's another inflation to fight this inflation, and then we all have to live through it. And then now you have Canadians losing their homes. You have the banks running very not very clean books. They're basically on the verge. If anything were to happen, or if it was made considered illegal to keep those mortgages on their books, because it is illegal for them to have them, but only to get them new. The fact that they already had them on their books and they didn't put them on their books like that, it isn't illegal. They're basically doing the maneuver to stop themselves from going bankrupt. Because if they go and 20% of their mortgages and they foreclose on those people, because they obviously can't pay their mortgages. If they can't pay, they're not paying principal and interest. They're not paying any principal and they're only paying some of their interest. So obviously they can't afford the mortgage, and the interest rates are going to go up at renewal time. So their rates are going to be higher. If 20% of their books go bad, that I'm pretty sure that's enough to bankrupt the banks as well. So the situation is very, very, very messy. And I'm not of the same opinion of my wife's, where I think that they're all doing something wrong. I think that the Bank of Canada did what they did, and everybody else is scrambling to deal with the mess. And I think that's what it is. I honestly don't believe the OSFI and BOC or Bank of Canada are working together to cause any havoc. I don't think it's that. I think that OSFI is very, very, very worried about the financial health of of the financial institutions, and therefore they've got to make changes in order to keep it healthy, in spite of what the Bank of Canada is doing. So that's my sort of take on it. In the little bit of research that I'm doing there, it looks like they're just scrambling to try to stay afloat and keep the financial institutions safe from collapse. Whereas the Bank of Canada collapsed itself, but because it's partly a government institution, which is not what the financial institutions are, they can't go and run $500 million negatives. The financial institutions can't, but the Bank of Canada can, because they're not paying for anything. It's Canadians that are paying for it. So you get poor mismanagement, really horrible mismanagement. Oh, well, so sad, too bad. That's your debt. That's it. That's your debt. And I may have ran it bad, and we may be losing money for the first time in history, but that don't matter. And I say, no, it does matter. And I don't know. He's been getting some praise in the news lately. Tiff Macklin has been getting praise because he held. And they think that he may have an interest rate. Inflation has been coming down, but the labor markets are still very tight. And he says he's going to have to do another run if the labor markets continue like this. And so, realistically speaking,
okay. Can I just touch on one thing before, because we're running out of time? And I did want to touch in because right now, we're nearing the end of April. Typically, May can swing either way. May can be a good busy market, or it could be when the market's just really going down for for summertime. So if you are right now getting ready to possibly put your home on the market, make sure when you have that agent come in and do everything, that they are, because the market is very volatile. We don't know from 1 week to the next what's going to be happening. Way out, because some people are always like, well, I want to do a little bit of work to the house. And they'll say, oh, it'll be a week. It never happens in a week. So just make sure that you're timing everything, because sometimes doing a little bit of work, you miss the market and you're losing money anyways. Sometimes it's almost better to just get your house on the market. Try to declutter the best you can, but don't lose the last, few days, few weeks that are left right now in the market by trying to gear your house up to get it sold. Because if you miss the market, you're going to lose more money than if you just got it on the market as is. So I just want to throw that up, because I'm thinking we're getting to the end of the spring season, right? But there's still people getting ready to put their house on the market. I was just talking to a client this morning, and that's what we were trying to determine. Should we just get the house on the market as is? He's like, oh, it really needs some work. It's a little bit rough. I said, well, we got to be careful here, because depending on how much work there is and how much time it's going to take, we may lose
Yeah, well,
the good market time. So I just wanted to throw that, just because of the call I got this morning with a client that kind of sparked me.
yeah, and that does make sense. Like we're in April, May, like my wife's saying, the cycle for real estate is that February is a ramp up month. March, April are your two best usually months of the year. You may run into May as one of those best months. Or it may be the pivot down into the summer months, which
Yeah.
are much lower in terms of the price you would get for the house. So all she's saying is, yeah, you got to really be careful at this time of the year, because timing is very, very important. Doesn't matter how amazing your house is if nobody's buying, and people
Yeah.
don't tend to buy in the summer. You excluding the exclude the pandemic times, because everything went weird. If we're back to normal now, springtime is when the price increases and the price decreases in the summer and floats back up somewhere in the middle for the fall of that price increasing. So timing could be more important to you than condition
Yeah.
right now. So that's something really important to keep in mind. Look at the comps. Right now, you have a really good scenario where over half of the properties are going in multiple offers. The actual list price is lower than the actual average sale price, which is definitely giving an upward trajectory on price. As long as the market stays like that, you're good. But if the market turns and you were spending the time cleaning your carpets and getting ready or whatever for the sale, you would have missed any price opportunity you could have had, and you're stuck in the summer months trying to move your inventory. So keep that in mind. It was a really good tip,
Yeah,
sweetheart.
well, I just thought, because some people may be getting ready, and you just gotta, it's really, timing is everything at this point
Yeah,
in the spring market.
yeah,
So just be careful with,
yes,
trying to beautify everything and then losing money on the other end.
yeah,
And
time.
then the other thing I want to say, because we're almost out of time, is we are not on air next week unless Anthony's able to do the show, because we will be flying home.
Okay.
So just so you guys know, we will be flying home and won't be able to do the show next
Can we
week.
do it on the plane?
I don't know if we can get Wi-Fi or not.
Mhm.
Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, but you yelling all over the airplane may not be a good thing for an hour. I doubt people want, unless you go in
What do you
the
mean by yelling?
lavatory.
What do you mean by yelling?
You're loud. You're loud.
Well, you were missing in action and then taking a phone call.
Because I got to deal with all the crises.
You didn't have to deal with nothing. You didn't have to answer my phone.
Are
You
you
went
guys flying
cause
first
crises.
class or?
First
Yeah,
class.
oh, yeah,
Go
okay.
on, go on.
Yeah, you might be able to do it if you're flying first class. They'll put a curtain
No, they
around
won't
you
allow
and
that. No,
No.
laptop.
They
I'm
won't
just
allow
joking.
that.
Anyways, yeah, I know. I was just joking.
Well,
Oh,
first of all, I am not flying first class.
Yeah.
I'd rather use that money when I get here on the island.
Well, what we
Yeah,
have the
no,
way to fix that is to have the private jet purchased by your money, and then when you have your private
Oh.
corporate jet, that's when you can do the show from the air.
Yes. Yes, that Gary will be our pilot, because Gary, our producer, also has his pilot license. He'll be flying us everywhere, but
All over the
yeah,
world.
I definitely need to sell a few more houses.
Did you get any more emails, hon?
No, not that came through anyways. Did you, Gary? Did you get anything?
I did not.
No, they said.
Okay, yeah. So,
Okay.
okay, well. I think
Okay,
that's it.
so if you guys get a chance to write in, just write in and tell her how wrong she was to go about and be answering the phone and then trying to stop the show to deal with a situation that you can't even deal with. If a guy shows up to put in a filter in the kitchen, but the kitchen isn't even there, there's not much of a discussion to have. There's no kitchen, dude. You're early. You got to wait till the kitchen goes in, then you
Yeah,
can
you
do the
should have
filter.
booked the appointment.
I didn't. I already said that. But
They don't just send people out without appointments, you know.
and this is the difference between men and women, right? For all you women out there listening,
Take us out, Gary.
it's for all you
It's enough of
women
his
out there
book.
listening. This is where your husband makes a stance, and you're
And
supposed
it
to
goes
listen.
nowhere.
Supposed to listen.
He's standing on that rock in the middle of the sea by himself, so he can make a stance.
And for all you filter installers, if you get somewhere and there's no kitchen, you don't need a 1 hour discussion to figure out what to do. You just need to rebook. All
Okay,
right.
that's what we did.
And so, yeah. So that's so it's 12 o'clock. Thank you very much for tuning in. Sorry for being so casual because we're here in Barbados, so we are a lot more casual
Well,
than we normally
definitely
are.
today, you're basically lying down in bed now.
Lying up. This would be lying up.
Lying up, okay.
This is your home and your money and
lying up.
our lives on realityradio101.com. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts, Randy and Jackie, right here on Reality Radio 101.